Hi guys, my name is Janell and I'm so excited to be here to start my very first podcast, She Who Thrives. In this podcast, you're going to get to meet the true me. The ups and downs are crazy in life, but I'm sure I'm not the only one. So take this journey with me on She Who Thrives. She Who Thrives. Phoenix Rising. The true me. The ups and downs are crazy in life. So take this journey with me. She Who Thrives. Yeah.
So, Janelle, you're about to embark on such a different journey in life. What do you want to get out of this podcast?
I want those who have gone through what I've went through or any similar situation to know that they're not by themselves. I went through a lot since I was very young till now, and I'm 42. And I've always felt that I was by myself a lot of the times. So I want to be able to tell even young girls and grown women that they're not by themselves. Those who can relate to me, not a counselor by any means, but by experience, I can help as many as I can. That's my goal. I want to be able to, where I'm at in life, I want other people to know that they're capable of being there as well. My biggest goal since I was young was not being a statistic. And I feel like I've accomplished that. So now my purpose in life is to give back and help others not be that statistic. Yeah, that's my goal.
What do you mean by statistic?
What I mean by statistic is where I grew up at. I'm from Chicago, Humboldt Park areas, predominantly Hispanics, predominantly Puerto Rican. First, second generations from straight off the island. And it was known for teen pregnancies, either getting locked up or not being here on Earth anymore. Like, death was very common.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want any of those outcomes for myself. I wanted a complete change from it. I know that there was a lot more to life than what the neighborhood depicted for us, basically. I wanted to choose my own path as opposed to what everybody else is going through.
Mm-hmm. And that's what a statistic in your life
statistics
was.
and yeah, inner city.
Mm-hmm.
Inner city, where a lot of people, when they hear that word inner city, there's some people that it's negative for them.
In a few words, tell me what that statistic was. Death, drugs, failure. What are they?
One of the biggest statistics was having kids young. I mean, I think I lucked out with that because I have what's called PCOS. So it's I have issues with fertility. So I think God was like, yeah, I'm going to give you this so that you won't fall into those statistics. Because I probably would have fell into that if I didn't have these issues.
And what is PCOS?
PCOS is called polycystic ovarian syndrome. And basically I have cysts in my ovaries, but it affects my hormones. So it wreaks havoc on my body. And it's basically I have more male hormones than female hormones in my system. So I have to do everything possible to balance everything out. My biggest trigger is stress. So I try to not have as much stress now that I'm older. But I didn't know this when I was younger, of course.
When you heard about having this condition,
Mm.
how did it have an impact in your life?
So knowing that, or when I got diagnosed with PCOS, it was, I was distraught because the first thing you think about is you're never going to be a mom. So I was like, okay, if I'm not going to be a mom, what's my purpose here in life, in this world? What's my purpose in life? Society puts that purpose on you as a woman to have kids. And that may not be an option for me. Of course, I can do different things. I know I can do different things to be able to have kids myself, whether it's adoption or IVF or things like that, but I don't know if I want to go that route anymore. I question myself all the time as to what is my purpose? What does God want from me? I'm not the biggest religious person. I'm not by any means. I'm very spiritual because I grew up Catholic, so I have that faith. But I think about it like, okay, instead of pouring into one child, maybe my purpose is to pour into a larger group of individuals that need me.
Yeah. So going from being a mom of one, you'd like to be a mom of many.
I like to be a mom of many. Yeah, like I do have quite a few people now that look up to me, and I think about them when I make decisions in my life. I think about, if I take this path, am I being a good role model to these girls that do look up to me? I question myself a lot with that, and that's helped me get to where I'm at right now, especially with things that I'm scared of doing. Because I want them to know that, yes, I'm scared of doing this, but it doesn't stop me, because I want them to be able to chase their dreams as well.
You're sitting here,
Mm-hmm.
and I know you're uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
This is not your norm.
No.
You're very much a person that's behind the scenes.
Right.
Tell me, why are you sitting here right now then?
I am sitting here because this is one of the biggest things I fear. And I want to be able to conquer this. I don't want to say that this conquered me. So that's why I'm sitting here. I want to be able to say I did this.
Having a mic, talking,
Having a mic, talking,
having my voice heard.
putting this out there. With my PCOS, I have really big body dysmorphia. So I tend to be my biggest critic when it comes to my looks and my body and things like that. So I want other women that go through that know that it's okay to be in front of the camera. It's okay to have that mic. It's okay to talk about yourself in a positive light. I'm still learning, and I'm 42 and I'm still learning it. It's very hard for me. But I don't want to run from it anymore.
I love that.
Oh, Lord Jesus.
So what do you think, moving forward, can your audience expect out of where we are now?
I want my listeners to expect for me to be 100% authentic and real, and not to sugarcoat anything. I want to be able to be myself 100%, whoever that is, because I'm still learning her. And it's okay to be one way one day and then be a different way, another day. It's okay not to fit inside of a stereotype, a box. But yeah, I want people to expect for me to be 100% raw. Like, I'm not holding back on anything. One of the things I read recently, I do a lot of reading, I don't watch much TV, but one of the things I read was depression comes because you're repressing yourself. And I think a lot of the times I did hold myself back from doing a lot of things in life that's great. So I want my audience to expect for them to go onto this journey with me, um so they can encourage me and I can encourage other people to to experience new things.
Mhm. What are a few things that you've done that are outside of the box, not the norm?
Okay, so one of the things that I done last year, okay, so last year I went through a divorce. I was going through a divorce. So one of the biggest things for me was, instead of sitting back and being very bitter about the situation, I wanted to heal from the situation. So healing from that situation, I wanted to experience things for the first time that I didn't experience before, or I was afraid to experience. Um, so one of the things was pole dancing. Pole dancing to me was, I think, very feminine, um, and creating some type of confidence that I didn't have prior to that. So I stepped into um, a studio and I started to take private lessons, and went I went with it, and I loved it. I haven't continued it, but I gotta go back. But yeah, that was one thing that I wanted to be able to climb that pole, and I climbed that pole, and I'm excited about it.
You chose a very powerful name for this podcast.
Hmm.
You obviously have thrived within the darkness and the pits of your own life. You have conquered giants that have tried to destroy you, from physical to emotional to spiritual.
Hmm.
And you thrived. You're here. You've you've torn up statistics that were meant for you. Why She Who Thrives?
There's so many names that I can honestly choose from, but She Who Thrives just reminded me that it, it just made me think about a phoenix rising. So she who thrives was just me coming out of everything, coming out of growing up and having to deal with child abuse, physical, mental, um, going through a marriage where I was a caretaker, dealing with someone with mental illness and health issues where I wasn't appreciated, um, and I still did everything possible to get to where I'm at. Successful entrepreneur, um, and now a published author. So didn't let anything hold me back. So that's why I had to choose She Who Thrives.
You have an amazing tagline, a podcast uplifting women to overcome and succeed even in the darkest times of life.
Some of the topics that I'm going to be approaching in this podcast is, one, mental illness is the biggest thing for me. Um, I don't want to ever say that it was a negative thing that happened in my life, because me experiencing it helped me get to where I am right now. There was a lot of pivoting throughout the process with mental illness, and I chose to see the positive in a lot of it. Don't get me wrong, there was a lot of negative and it did hold me back a lot for a very long time, but it did make me get stronger. So mental illness is one thing I'm gonna touch up on. Another is entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur, but it wasn't by choice initially, and now I just can't see myself not being an entrepreneur. Um, where being an entrepreneur is very hard. And I think if I didn't go through what I went through where I grew up and with what I experienced with mental illness, I probably wouldn't have been an entrepreneur that I am today. Like, that gave me a backbone. Um, I also want to be able to touch up on health issues with my PCOS. That's another thing that's a big factor in my life. PCOS is another Another factor in my life that is so huge and not everybody understands it. I don't understand it 100%, but I still learn every single day. Um, so that's one thing that I want to be able to touch up on, where sometimes I don't feel like a woman because that does take a your womanhood away from you sometimes. Um, so I want to be able to touch on that. I also want to be able to touch on um some girls that are young that are struggling with finding themselves, um, to help them overcome certain things and give them that strength to know that you'll make it. You'll get there.
Mhm.
Hold on.